I mean, what do you think's the most different about this album, compared to the rest of your canon? I mean, do you think if art is always a state of becoming, this is like the way you're pointing the way, or is it just, another version of the things that you've been singing all along?
Well, if I look back at Mechanical Animals, or I look at Antichrist Superstar in Hollywood, I talked a lot about, the Nietzsche idea on Antichrist Superstar and the transformation. Hollywood, it was very obsessed with the themes of alchemy and that entire way of looking at the world. But this record, to me, has more of both of those things, but it doesn't really talk about them as much as it just is them. So I think that you genuinely, as deep as you want to look into these songs, just if you look at it as a whole, it has more of a transformation and more of a becoming something than the records where I talked about those ideas.
Yeah, you definitely.
And I tried to fight to present those ideas as being important. I thought that I had already done that, but I didn't realize that I had yet to do something much more difficult.
Well, I think it's another case of you anticipating your future and creating it, I mean, the things that you were talking about earlier were the things that you would become. I mean, to me, it does seem an extension of everything you've ever written before. And then the essence of what is holy, but now what's holy is much more soft. I mean, to me, like, love is holy in this album. And that wasn't the case in your other albums.
No, it was always maybe either the disappointment or the shallowness of certain ideas that I didn't really understand how to say something in the same way that I say it to people who I'm closest to.
Yeah.
Something as simple as Heart-Shaped Glasses, the chorus of that song, is something that I literally said, and then I realized, why haven't I really written a song in the same way that I said that? So I was very determined to write a song. But when I look back and now I think about what I say in the course of that song, it really defines my entire, what's that?
It's not about, you say something about don't leave me or don't not love
Well, don't break my heart and I won't break your heart-shaped glasses. I think when I look at that, that really defines a lot of the record. The song is very disguised in a sarcastic pop sense, but I wasn't really so much trying to be sarcastic because I think it's a little darker than some people might even think, but because it's all very, very subtle double meanings. But I think that makes me realize how guarded and how afraid I was to surrender myself to someone else by saying something like that. When you say, don't break my heart or I'll break. It ends up saying more to me about how afraid I was to open myself to people.
And are you still happy? I mean, is this as good as you anticipated?
I think anything was better than how I felt before I made the record, but I think I'm genuinely enjoying myself performing, and I'm not in a state where every day it's a question mark if I'm going to be depressed or angry or happy about something. I think that I feel much more in control, but I feel happy that I can say that from a position that does not include sobriety or religion or any other thing that somebody else had to help me find the answer to what was making my life go wrong. So I figured out that it doesn't really matter what you drink, do drugs, or how much. It's why. And I was in a position where I was so, I guess, empty. That I didn't even have the motivation to drink. That was pretty bad.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, so I think that says a lot.
I guess, what do you think the greatest misconception is about you? And I know that doesn't really tie into this, but I think there's so much that people believe about you, and you polarize so many people. What do you think they always get wrong about you?
Well, people are always believing that I'm trying my hardest to be shocking,
mm-hmm.
and then love to complain in a very lazy journalistic way, because I know from where I started, I know how easy it is to make yourself sound more amusing as a writer when you're criticizing something than praising it. Right. But I never chose to write about things that I didn't like, because I didn't really feel there was a need for it, although it's fun and amusing sometimes. But I think that it's always a disappointment when people say, I'm trying to be shocking, but I didn't do it. And I've never really tried to be shocking. I think I've tried to make it clear from the beginning. I've tried to uphold the concept that anything that wants to call itself art has to at least be provocative. And to be able to get anyone's attention and for them to have an opinion on it, whether that's hate or love, and I really prefer those extremes, says a lot in an era where the world has become such a victim of itself that it's a little unnecessary to try and point out the weaknesses of everything outside of you. And I was able to point out my own weaknesses, and I think that ends up saying, in some way, what I've always said, because I've always really been trying to hit at the importance of believing in yourself and in the power of not being afraid to stand behind your opinion.
If you had a motto, what would it be? I mean, is there something you say to yourself when you're feeling really terrible, or something that reinforces that idea of believing in yourself?
Well, anything I say will probably sound like a bumper sticker.
They all do, but they all help.
No, I think...
all right, I'll tell you mine, okay?
Okay.
I have this picture of Madonna, and I'm not a big Madonna fan, but she's in a yoga pose, and it's really dreadful and ugly, and she looks terrible. And it says, if I'm afraid of something, that generally means I have to do it. I mean, I could say be here now, and that'd be worse.
No, I'm trying to think. You put me on the spot. I have a lot of comical slogans.
Well, go for it.
Well, I'm just trying to think. First, I should deliver the more profound one.
Okay, go.
Which I think, I suppose for me, I've spent most of my songwriting on, in some ways, slogans, in a sense, because that's the way I've always grown up thinking. I mean, there was a good chance I could have ended up, becoming an advertising person, except I feel like it wasn't where my heart was. I think when you have the courage to drive off a cliff with somebody who believes in you the same, to trust you and do that, then you don't want to anymore. I don't know if that's a slogan, but that's what I learned, that when you are not afraid to hit bottom or die or give yourself up complete to sacrifice, then there's no need to anymore.
That's pretty great. I mean, that is profound. I've never tried it. I'm not that daring yet.
Yeah, no, you don't have to try it. It's just when you have it in your head. I wouldn't find
No,
a need
I don't
to try
mean for real.
Okay, yeah. You
Yoda,
mean surrendering, yeah.
But Yoda says there's no trying.
Right.
So, thank you. I love the album. I really
Thanks.
did. I every time I take it off the CD player, I really miss it. So you've done a really great thing, and I'm really glad that you're happy.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
All right, bye.